The eternal dawn dropped out of hyperspace above Earth on a clear afternoon. The blue planet filled the view screen, beautiful and peaceful. Park Doan stood at the observation window, watching. He had been given clean clothes, good food, and a warm bed. The doctors said his injuries were minor and would heal quickly. But the real healing was happening in his heart. He was home. The shuttle that carried him to the surface landed at the central spaceport in the capital city. Thousands of people had gathered. When the doors opened and Doan stepped out, they cheered so loudly that he could feel it in his chest. His mother was there, pushing through the crowd. She was small and gray-haired, but she moved like nothing could stop her. When she reached him, she grabbed his face in her hands and looked at him like she was making sure he was real. "My son," she whispered. "My beautiful son." Then she held him, and neither of them could speak. His sister Yuna was there too, with her 2 children. The kids had made signs that said, "Welcome home, Uncle Do-yoon," in crayon. They ran to him and hugged his legs. He picked them up, one in each arm, and laughed for the first time in weeks. The news traveled across the galaxy. Every species heard the story. The Tarathi had taken a human hostage. Earth had sent 200 warships. They had burned through 4 star systems, destroyed dozens of stations, and brought their citizen home. For one person, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from 100 species gathered in the Great Assembly Hall on the neutral station. Harmony won. The humans were the last to arrive. Admiral Ji-woo walked in, followed by Captain Tyson and Lieutenant Sujin. They took their seats in the human section, facing the assembled galaxy. The council chairman, an ancient being from the Mora species, spoke first. "We have called this session to discuss the recent actions of the United Earth Coalition. Specifically, the military campaign against the Tarathi Confederation. Many members of this council have expressed concern about the scale and intensity of the human response." Ji-woo nodded. "I am prepared to address those concerns." The Valkyrie ambassador stood. She was tall and thin, with silver scales that shimmered in the light. "Admiral, your forces destroyed 53 Tarathi military installations. You caused the deaths of over 4,000 Tarathi soldiers. You brought the Tarathi Confederation to the edge of collapse. All for one person." She paused. Was this truly necessary? Ji-woo stood slowly. She looked around the assembly, meeting eyes from a dozen different species. "Ambassador, let me tell you what happened. The Tarathi kidnapped an innocent man from a research station. He was a scientist. He had never harmed anyone. They took him from his work, put him in a cell, and threatened to kill him slowly if we did not give them territory." She walked forward, her voice steady and clear. "They thought we would calculate. They thought we would weigh his life against the cost of war. They thought we would do what any sensible species would do, accept the loss and move on." She stopped in the center of the chamber. They were wrong. The room was silent. You ask if our response was necessary. I say it was essential. Because the moment we allow our people to be taken without consequence, we tell the galaxy that human lives are cheap. We tell every species watching that they can kidnap our citizens, threaten our families, and we will do nothing. Her voice rose, filling the chamber. We will never do nothing. We will never abandon our own. Every human, no matter how far from Earth, no matter how small or unimportant they seem, carries the full weight of our civilization behind them. Touch one of us, and you touch all of us. She turned to the Valkyrie ambassador directly. The Tarathi did not understand this. Now they do. And now, ambassador, so does everyone else. She sat down. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then the Morath ambassador, Tevex, stood. He was the same species as Do-yoon's friend from the research station. His voice was gentle, but carried across the room. "I have known humans for many years. I have worked beside them. I have called them friends. What the Admiral says is true. Humans are different from the rest of us. They do not count lives as numbers. They do not trade people for advantage. He looked at Jiwoo with something like admiration. Some call this madness. I call it love. Love for each other. Love for their own. It is a powerful thing, and perhaps we should not fear it. Perhaps we should learn from it. He sat down. Around the chamber, representatives began to murmur. The Khasan Emperor's voice came next, thin and cold. And what of the species who supported the Tarathi? What of those who helped plan this kidnapping? Jiwoo smiled, but there was no warmth in it. They know who they are. They have seen what happens when humans are pushed. I believe they will make better choices in the future. The Khasan Emperor said nothing more. After the session ended, High Counselor Verath of the Tarathi formally apologized. He admitted that Commander Yelvrix had acted with his knowledge and approval. He agreed to pay reparations to the United Earth Coalition. He agreed to never threaten a human citizen again. Nexus, the young guard who had helped with the rescue, was granted asylum on Earth. He became a speaker for peace between species, traveling the galaxy to share his story. Commander Yelvrix was put on trial by his own people. He was found guilty of crimes against the peace and sentenced to life imprisonment. He spent his remaining years in a cell not so different from the one where he had kept Do-hyun. The three species who had supported the kidnapping quietly withdrew their ambassadors from Tarathi space. They sent private messages to Earth, promising friendship and cooperation. Admiral Jiwoo accepted their words but did not forget what they had done. Months passed. The story became legend. Park Do-hyun returned to his work. He was offered jobs on Earth, in safe laboratories where no one would bother him. He turned them down. Instead, he asked to be assigned to a new research station, even farther from Earth than the last one. "Are you sure?" his mother asked. After everything that happened, Do-hyun smiled. "I am sure. The galaxy is full of things to discover. And now I know that no matter how far I go, I am never alone. Earth will always come for me." He launched to his new station on a bright spring morning. His mother and sister came to see him off. His little niece and nephew made new signs that said, "See you soon, Uncle Do-hyun." As his ship rose into the sky, Do-hyun looked back at the blue planet below. He thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the loneliness, the moment when the cell door opened and he saw human faces coming to save him. He thought about Admiral Jiwoo's words, "You are one of us." That is all the reason we needed. That was what it meant to be human. Not just strength or technology or intelligence, but the simple truth that every person mattered, that no one was left behind. Far across the galaxy, other species told this story to their children. It became a warning and a lesson. Do not take humans lightly. Do not threaten their people. Because if you do, they will come for you. They will burn through every obstacle. They will never stop, never slow down, never give up. All for one person. In a classroom on a distant world, a young alien student raised her hand. "Teacher," she asked, "why are humans so feared?" The teacher, an old Morath with kind eyes, thought for a moment. "Because," he said finally, "they will sacrifice everything they have built to save just one of their own. And they will do it without hesitation, without regret, and without asking if the cost is too high." The student looked confused. "But that seems illogical." "Perhaps," the teacher agreed. "But it is also beautiful. And it is why, of all the species in the galaxy, humans are the ones you should never underestimate." Far away, on his new research station, Park Do-hyun looked out at the stars. He was one small person in an infinite universe. But he was not alone. He never would be. He smiled and got back to work. The human fleet arrived at the Tarathi homeworld at dawn. From orbit, the planet looked peaceful. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds drifting across the surface. Billions of Tarathi lived down there. Families, children, workers, teachers, normal people who had nothing to do with the kidnapping. Admiral Jiwoo looked at the planet through the main view screen of the Eternal Dawn. She had the power to destroy it. Her weapons could burn the surface clean. The Tarathi had given her every reason to hate them, but that was not why she was here. Position the fleet in high orbit, she ordered. Weapons ready, but do not fire. Not yet. Yes, Admiral. Captain Tassin confirmed. 200 human warships arranged themselves in a perfect circle above the Tarathi homeworld. They did not attack. They did not move. They simply waited, like a storm that had paused but not passed. Jiwoo opened a communication channel. Her voice reached every screen on the planet below. People of the Tarathi, I am Admiral Kan Jiwoo of the United Earth Coalition. Your leaders took one of our citizens. They thought we would not come for him. They were wrong. We are here now. She paused, letting her words sink in. I am not here to destroy your world. I am not here to kill your families. I am here for one reason, to bring Park Do-hyun home. Send him to us, and this ends. Send him to us, and we will leave. Send him to us, and no one else has to die. She waited. The silence stretched across space. Then a response came. Not from the planet below, but from a station in orbit on the far side. Commander Yelvrix's voice crackled through the speakers. Admiral, you have made your point. You have shown your strength. But you will not get what you want. His voice was confident, but there was something underneath it. Fear, maybe. Or desperation. Park Do-hyun is on this station, with me. If you attack, he dies. If you try to rescue him, he dies. Accept my terms, or his blood is on your hands. Jiwoo did not react. Her face remained calm. Commander Yelvrix, I will give you 1 hour to reconsider. After that, we will come for him. And nothing you do will stop us. She cut the communication dot in the war room of the Eternal Dawn. Sergeant Han Yoonji was already preparing her team. She was 32, with short dark hair and a scar along her jaw from a battle years ago. She led the best rescue squad in the human military. They called themselves the Ghosts. The station layout is here, she said, pointing at a holographic display. Her team of 12 gathered around her. Yelvrix is keeping Do-hyun in the holding cells on level 7. We enter through the maintenance tunnels on level 3. Move up through the service corridors and reach the cells without triggering the main alarms. Corporal Shin Donghae raised his hand. What about guards? Intel says there are at least 100 soldiers on that station. We avoid when we can. We eliminate when we must. Speed is our advantage. By the time they know we are there, we will already have Do-hyun and be heading for extraction. Private First Class Lee Yoonji checked her rifle. And if Yelvrix tries to kill the hostage? Yoonji met her eyes. Then we kill him first. The hour passed. Yelvrix did not release Do-hyun. He did not respond to any more messages. He believed his threat would protect him. He believed the humans would not risk their citizens' life. He was wrong about humans. Just like everyone else, the rescue shuttle launched from the Eternal Dawn, running silent with no lights and minimal energy signatures. Yoonji sat in the lead position, her team strapped in behind her. They wore dark armor and carried silenced weapons. Each of them had volunteered for this mission. The shuttle approached the station from below, hiding in the planet's shadow. They docked at an emergency airlock that Intel said was rarely monitored. EUNG opened the hatch. Darkness greeted her. Move, she whispered. The ghosts flowed into the station like water through cracks. They moved in pairs, covering each other, communicating through hand signals. The corridors were dim and cold. They encountered their first guards on level 4. 2 Tarathi soldiers standing by a junction, talking quietly. They never saw the humans coming. Yunji and Donghae took them down silently, lowering the bodies to the floor without a sound. They kept moving. On level 6, they hit a problem. A patrol of 8 soldiers was moving through the corridor they needed to use. There was no way around them. Yunji held up her hand. Her team stopped. She counted silently. 1, 2, 3. They attacked. It was over in seconds. The Tarathi soldiers barely had time to raise their weapons before they fell. The one of them managed to hit an alarm button on his wrist before he died. Red lights began flashing. Sirens wailed. "Run," Yunji ordered. They abandoned stealth for speed. The ghosts sprinted through the corridors, following the path burned into their memories from hours of studying the station layout. Behind them, they could hear shouts and footsteps. Level 7. The holding cells. 2 guards stood at the entrance. They saw the humans coming and raised their weapons. Yunji shot the first one. Yunji got the second. They burst through the door. Commander Yelvrix was there, standing in front of a cell with a weapon in his hand. Behind the cell bars, Park Do-hyun sat on the floor, looking up with wide eyes. "Stop!" Yelvrix shouted. He pointed his weapon at Do-hyun. "One more step, and I kill him." Yunji stopped. Her team spread out behind her, weapons aimed at Yelvrix. "Put down the weapon," she said calmly. "You are surrounded. You have lost. If you kill him, we will kill you. If you surrender, you will live." Yelvrix laughed. It was a broken sound. "Live? After this failure? I am already dead. My career, my honor, my everything. You humans have taken it all. We did not take anything. You did this to yourself when you kidnapped an innocent man." Yelvrix's hand shook. Sweat ran down his gray face. Behind him, a door opened. Nexus stepped through. The young guard who had spoken to Do-hyun in his cell. He held a weapon, but it was pointed at the floor. "Commander," Nexus said quietly, "please, enough people have died. Get back to your post." Yelvrix screamed. "That is an order." "I will not follow that order." Nexus raised his weapon and pointed it at his commander. "I became a soldier to protect our people, not to murder innocents. This is not who we are supposed to be." Yelvrix stared at him in disbelief. His hand trembled more. Yunji took one step forward, then another. "Look at me," she said to Yelvrix. "You can still choose how this ends. You can be the monster who killed a helpless man, or you can be the person who finally did the right thing." For a long moment, no one moved. Then Yelvrix lowered his weapon. Yunji moved fast. She took the weapon from his hands and pushed him toward her team. Donghae secured him with restraints. Yunji opened the cell. Park Do-hyun looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Are you really here?" he whispered. "You actually came?" Yunji smiled. "Of course we came. We are human. We do not leave our people behind." Yunji put her hand on Do-hyun's shoulder. "Can you walk?" "I think so." "Good. Stay close to me." They moved back through the station. Tarathi soldiers tried to stop them, but the fight had gone out of most of them. Word had spread that Yelvrix was captured. Word had spread that the humans had won. The shuttle was waiting where they had left it. They loaded Do-hyun aboard, then Yelvrix in restraints. Then the entire team as the shuttle lifted off. Yunji sent a message to the Eternal Dawn. Package secured. Heading home. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Jiwoo received the message. For the first time in days, she allowed herself to relax. "All ships," she announced, "stand down. The mission is complete." She walked to the medical bay personally. When she arrived, the doctors were already treating Do-hyun. He was thin and tired, but alive. Alive. He looked up when she entered. Admiral Jiwoo? His voice was hoarse. I do not know how to thank you. I never thought. Jiwoo sat down beside him. For a moment, she was not an admiral. She was just a woman, looking at a young man who had been lost and was now found. You do not need to thank me, she said gently. You are one of us. That is all the reason we needed. Do-hyun closed his eyes. Tears ran down his face. He was going home. Part 3. The first shot came from the eternal dawn. A beam of white light crossed the darkness of space and struck the Tarathi defense station. The station's shields held for 3 seconds. Then they broke, and the beam cut through the metal like a knife through paper. The explosion lit up the void. Every Tarathi ship in the area saw it. Every crew member felt the shockwave through their hulls. Then the rest of the human fleet opened fire. 200 warships fired at once. The space around the Tarathi defense line became a storm of light and fire. Missiles streaked across the darkness. Energy beams crossed and burned. Fighter ships launched from every human carrier, filling the sky like angry wasps. The Tarathi fought back. They were warriors, after all. They had won many battles. But this was different. The humans were not fighting like they expected. They were not careful. They were not measured. They pushed forward with everything they had, taking damage without slowing down. Min-jae sat in the cockpit of his fighter, leading a squadron of 12 ships. He was 26 years old, with steady hands and sharp eyes. This was his first real battle, but he flew like he had done it 1,000 times. Stay tight, he said into his communicator. Cover each other. We punch through their line and clear a path for the main fleet. Understood, squadron leader, came the responses. The squadron dove toward the Tarathi defense ships. Enemy fire filled the space around them. Min-jae twisted and turned, dodging beams that would have cut his ship in half. Beside him, his wingmate Choi Hana matched his every move. 3 fighters on your left. Hana shouted. Min-jae banked hard. He saw them coming. Tarathi interceptors, painted black with red stripes. They were fast, but not fast enough. He locked onto the first one and fired. The enemy ship exploded. Hana got the second. Their squadron mate Kim Jung-soo destroyed the third. Nice work, Min-jae called out. But the battle was not one-sided. A Tarathi cruiser fired a spread of missiles at the human line. One of them found its target. A ship called the Morning Star took a direct hit. Min-jae watched it break apart, fire blooming in the vacuum. 30 crew members died in an instant. Min-jae gripped his controls tighter. He thought of the briefing before the battle. Admiral Jiwoo had shown them a picture of Park Do-hyun, a quiet man with kind eyes, a scientist who had never held a weapon in his life. He is one of us, the admiral had said, and we do not leave our people behind. Now, watching the Morning Star burn, Min-jae understood the cost. But he also understood why they were here. If it was him in that cell, the fleet would come for him too. That knowledge made him fight harder. The battle lasted 90 minutes. By the end, the Tarathi defense line was destroyed. Every station was gone. Every ship was either burned or fleeing. The human fleet pushed forward, barely pausing to count their losses. They had lost 12 ships, 342 people dead. It was a high price. But they kept moving. Across the galaxy, other species watched through long-range sensors. They watched the destruction of the Tarathi border defenses in stunned silence. The Velthari Council called an emergency meeting. The Kosan Emperor demanded to know what was happening. The Morthic elders looked at each other with fear in their eyes. They had expected negotiations. They had expected caution. They had expected humans to behave like every other species in the galaxy, to weigh costs, to calculate risks, to accept losses when the price was too high. But the humans were not stopping. They were not negotiating. They were burning their way through Tarathi space like nothing else mattered. High Counselor Verith of the Tarathi watched the reports come in from his chamber on the homeworld. He was old, with deep lines on his gray face. He had led his people for 30 years. He had never seen anything like this. "Commander Yelvrix," he said into his communication screen. "What have you done?" Yelvrix's face appeared. He was on a station far from the front lines, but even he looked worried now. "I followed the plan, High Counselor. We agreed that the humans would surrender. Our advisors said, 'Your advisors were wrong.'" Verith slammed his hand on his desk. "They have destroyed our entire border defense. They are pushing into our inner systems. Our ships are surrendering without fighting because they have heard what happened to those who resisted." Yelvrix was silent for a moment. "They will stop eventually. When they see how many they are losing, they will stop." "Will they?" Verith leaned forward. "I am watching their fleet right now. They just lost another ship. Do you know what they did? They sent rescue boats to save the survivors, and then they kept attacking. They did not slow down for even 1 second. That is madness." "No, Commander. That is humanity. And you made them angry." Verith cut the communication. He sat alone in his chamber, thinking. He could see only one way out of this. He sent a message to the human fleet, asking for a ceasefire to discuss terms. Admiral Jiwoo's response came back within minutes. "Release Park Do-hyun. Then we will talk." Verith sent another message. "We need time to coordinate. Commander Yelvrix has him at a secure location. Please stop your advance while we—" Jiwoo's response was even shorter. "No." The human fleet kept moving. In the holding cell, Do-hyun did not know what was happening. He had been alone for days now. The guards brought him food and water, but they did not speak to him. He could feel tension in the station. He heard alarms sometimes. He saw guards running past his door. Something was wrong. Something big. One guard was different from the others. His name was Nexus, and he was younger than the rest. He did not look at Do-hyun with hatred. He looked at him with something like curiosity. One day, Nexus stopped at the door. "Your people are coming," he said quietly. "They are burning everything between here and their home planet." Do-hyun looked up. "What do you mean?" "I mean they are destroying our fleet. They are taking apart our stations. All for you." Nexus shook his head slowly. "I did not believe it at first. No species does that. But humans do. Why are you telling me this?" Nexus was quiet for a long moment. "Because I joined the military to protect my people. To serve with honor. This." He gestured at the cell, at Do-hyun's thin body and tired eyes. "This is not honor. This is cruelty. And now thousands of my people are dying because of that cruelty." He walked away without another word. Do-hyun sat in the darkness and let himself hope. He thought of his mother, who always said that family sticks together. He thought of his little sister Yuna, who used to cry when he went away and made him promise to always come back. He thought of Earth, of billions of people who had never met him but who were, apparently, coming to save him anyway. For the first time since his capture, Park Do-hyun smiled. In the command center of the Eternal Dawn, Admiral Jiwoo looked at the star map. They had cut through 4 Tarathi systems. They were 1 day away from the homeworld. Captain Tazen approached her. "Admiral, we have received surrender signals from 6 more ships. They are powering down their weapons and asking for mercy." "Granted," Jiwoo said. "We are not here to destroy them. We are here to get our citizen back." "Understood." Tazen paused. "Admiral, we have also received a message from Commander Yelvrix. He says if we come any closer, he will kill the hostage." Jiwoo turned to face him. Her expression did not change. Send this message to every ship in our fleet, every Tarathi ship that can hear us, and every species watching in the galaxy. She took a breath. Tell them that if Commander Yelvrix harms one hair on Park Do-yoon's head, we will not stop at the Tarathi homeworld. We will hunt down every person who participated in this kidnapping. We will find every leader who approved it. We will follow them to the edges of the galaxy if we must. There will be no negotiation. There will be no forgiveness. There will be only consequences. Tayson nodded slowly. I will send it immediately, Admiral. The message went out. Across the Tarathi systems, across the watching galaxy, everyone heard it. And everyone believed it. The Coalition Council chamber was the largest room on Earth. It sat at the heart of the capital city, built from white stone and tall windows that let in the morning sun. 200 representatives from every nation on Earth gathered here to make decisions that shaped the future of humanity. Today, they gathered for only 12 minutes. Admiral Kang Jiwoo stood at the center of the room. She wore her dress uniform, covered in medals from a lifetime of service. Her hair was silver, pulled back in a tight knot. Her face was calm, but everyone in the room could feel the anger beneath it. You have all seen the message, she said. Her voice carried to every corner of the chamber. The Tarathi have taken one of our citizens. They demand we give up 3 star systems. They think we will calculate the cost. They think we will weigh one life against territory and resources. She paused. The room was silent. They are wrong. A representative from the Eastern Coalition stood up. Admiral, with respect, we must consider the diplomatic path. Perhaps we can negotiate. Negotiate? Jiwoo turned to face him. They kidnapped a scientist, an innocent man studying bacteria on a research station. They threatened to kill him slowly. What negotiation would you suggest? The representative sat down. He had no answer. I am not here to ask permission, Jiwoo continued. I am here to inform you. The Third Fleet is already preparing to launch. We will bring Park Do-yoon home. We will send a message that no one in the galaxy will ever forget. Another representative spoke up. The Tarathi have allies. If we attack them, we could start a war with multiple species. Is one life worth that risk? Jiwoo walked toward him slowly. The room held its breath. Yes, she said simply. One life is worth that risk. One life is worth any risk. Because if we leave him behind today, who do we leave behind tomorrow? If we abandon our people when they need us, what are we protecting? What is the point of all our power if we do not use it to save our own? She looked around the room, meeting every pair of eyes. This is who we are. This is what makes us human. We do not count lives like coins. We do not trade our people for territory. Every single one of us matters. Every single one. The vote was unanimous. Admiral Jiwoo was given full authority. Within the hour, she was aboard her flagship, the Eternal Dawn. It was the largest warship humanity had ever built. 2 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could crack a moon in half. It hummed with power as it prepared to launch. Captain Yoon Tayson met her at the bridge. He was 45, with a shaved head and a scar across his left cheek. He had served under Jiwoo for 15 years. He would follow her into the heart of a star if she asked. The fleet is ready, Admiral, he said. 200 ships. Our best crews. Everyone volunteered. Volunteered? Tayson nodded. When word spread about why we were launching, soldiers from other fleets asked to join. We had to turn people away. Everyone wants to be part of this. Jiwoo allowed herself a small smile. Good. Set course for Tarathi space. Maximum speed. Yes, Admiral. The Eternal Dawn roared to life. Behind it, 200 warships followed. They jumped to hyperspace. leaving Earth behind in a flash of blue light dot in the intelligence center of the ship. Lieutenant Baek Sujin was working. She was 32, with sharp eyes and quick fingers. Her job was to find information that others missed. And she had found something important. "Admiral," she said when Jiwoo entered, "I need to show you something." She pulled up a holographic display. It showed communication records traced across the galaxy. The Tarathi did not act alone. Before they attacked the research station, they had secret meetings with 3 other species: the Velthri, the Kasan, and the Morthic. All of them have reasons to want humanity weakened. All of them contributed ships or resources to this plan. Jiwoo studied the display. So this was not just about the border systems. This was a test. Yes, Admiral. They wanted to see how we would respond. If we gave in, they would know we could be pressured. They would demand more and more until we had nothing left. And if we fought? Sujin hesitated. They did not think we would fight. Not for one person. Their reports say humans are emotional but practical. They believed we would sacrifice Do-hyun to avoid war. Jiwoo laughed. It was not a happy sound. They do not understand us at all. She turned to leave, then stopped. "Lieutenant, send a message to the Velthri, the Kasan, and the Morthic. Tell them we know what they did. Tell them to watch what happens next. And tell them to remember." "Remember what, Admiral?" "That we are coming." The fleet traveled for 2 days. As they moved through hyperspace, news spread across the galaxy. Other species watched in confusion and growing fear. The Morith sent a message asking what was happening. The answer was simple. Earth is bringing its citizen home. The Fenlix, a peaceful species who traded with everyone, sent a warning. The Tarathi have strong defenses. "You may lose many ships." Admiral Jiwoo sent back one word: irrelevant. On the 3rd day, the fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Tarathi territory. Before them stood the first defense line, a massive space station surrounded by 50 warships. Jiwoo opened a communication channel. Her voice echoed across the void. "Tarathi forces, this is Admiral Kang Jiwoo of the United Earth Coalition. You are holding one of our citizens. His name is Park Do-hyun. You have 6 hours to release him. If he is not delivered safely to our fleet within that time, we will come and get him ourselves." The Tarathi commander on the station laughed when he heard the message. He actually laughed. One human? He said to his crew, "They brought a war fleet for one human? These creatures are insane." He sent his response. "Admiral, you are outnumbered in our territory. Turn back now, or we will destroy you. Your citizen belongs to us." Jiwoo listened to the response. She did not laugh. "Start the timer," she told Captain Tayson. 6 hours. The hours passed slowly. Across the border, on both sides, crews watched and waited. The Tarathi were confident. They had faced many enemies before. They had always won. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, soldiers checked their weapons. Pilots ran final tests on their fighters. Engineers made sure every system was ready. In the medical bay, doctors prepared for wounded. They hoped they would not be needed. They knew they would be. The timer counted down. 5 hours. 4. 3. At 2 hours remaining, the Tarathi commander sent another message. "You are bluffing. No one starts a war for one person. Go home." Jiwoo did not respond. At 1 hour remaining, the Tarathi ships began to move into attack formation. They thought they were calling the bluff. They thought the humans would retreat. The timer hit 0. Admiral Jiwoo stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn. 200 ships waited for her command. Thousands of soldiers, pilots, and crew members held their breath. She thought of Park Do-hyun, sitting alone in a cold cell. She thought of his mother, crying on Earth. She thought of every human who had ever been taken, abandoned or left behind. Not this time. All ships, she said, her voice steady and clear. Open fire. The galaxy had never seen anything like what happened next. The research station floated in the darkness of space like a small silver coin against the endless black. It orbited a massive gas giant, far from any planet that claimed it. This was neutral territory, a place where scientists from many species came together to study the universe. Park Do-hyun stood by the observation window, watching the swirling storms on the giant planet below. He was 34 years old, with kind eyes and gentle hands. He had come here to study alien life forms. He was the only human on the station. Do-hyun, come look at this, called a voice behind him. He turned and smiled. Tivex, a scientist from the Mora species, was waving him over to a microscope. Tivex had blue skin and 4 arms, but after 6 months together, Do-hyun saw only a friend. What did you find? Do-hyun asked, walking over. A new bacteria from the moon samples. It changes color when it feels heat. Beautiful, yes? Do-hyun looked through the microscope and laughed softly. It is beautiful. Life always finds a way to surprise us. This was his life now. Quiet days filled with discovery. Friendly conversations with beings from distant stars. He missed Earth sometimes, missed the smell of rain and the taste of his mother's cooking. But he loved his work. He felt at peace here. That peace was about to end. The alarm came without warning. Red lights flashed across the station. A loud sound filled every room. Do-hyun looked up, confused. In 6 months, the alarm had never gone off. What is happening? Tivex asked, all 4 arms raised in surprise. Before anyone could answer, the station shook. Hard. Do-hyun grabbed the table to keep from falling. Through the window, he saw something that made his blood turn cold. Ships, massive warships painted black and red. They surrounded the station like predators circling prey. He counted 5, then 10, then stopped counting. The symbol on their hulls was one he recognized from his studies. Tarathi. The Tarathi were a proud species. They believed themselves superior to all others. They had fought many wars. They had won most of them. And they hated humans. They thought Earth was young, weak, and foolish. The station door exploded inward. Soldiers poured through, their weapons raised. They were tall, with gray skin and sharp teeth. Their eyes were yellow and cold. Everyone down. A soldier shouted. On the floor, now. Do-hyun dropped to his knees. Around him, his colleagues did the same. He could hear Tivex breathing hard beside him. He could see others shaking with fear. A new figure walked through the broken door. He was taller than the soldiers, and he wore a black uniform covered in medals. His face showed no emotion. This was Commander Yelvrix, and he looked at the prisoners like they were insects. Search them, Yelvrix ordered. Find the human. Do-hyun's heart stopped. Find the human. They were looking for him. A soldier grabbed his arm and pulled him up. Another checked his identification chip. The soldier nodded to Yelvrix. This is him, Commander. The human scientist. Yelvrix walked forward slowly. He stopped in front of Do-hyun and looked down at him. Do-hyun was not a small man, but Yelvrix made him feel like a child. Bart Do-hyun, Yelvrix said, reading from a datapad. Xenobiologist. Born on Earth. No military service. No political connections. He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Perfect. Why are you doing this? Do-hyun asked. His voice was steady, even though his hands were shaking. This is a research station. We have no weapons. We are no threat to you. You are not a threat, Yelvrix agreed. But you are useful. Your species loves its people. They cry over each other. They mourn each death like it matters. He leaned closer. We will see how much they love you. Do-hyun did not understand. Not then. The soldiers separated him from the others. They put him in a small transport ship. Through the window, he watched the research station grow smaller and smaller. He saw Tynix pressed against the window, watching him go. Then they jumped to hyperspace, and everything disappeared. Hours passed. Maybe days. Do-hyun lost track of time in the small cell they put him in. The walls were gray. The floor was cold. A single light buzzed above him. He thought about his family. His mother, who called him every week through the communication network. His younger sister, Yuna, who sent him pictures of her children. His father, who had died 3 years ago, but whose voice Do-hyun still heard in his dreams. He thought about Earth, the mountains he used to climb, the ocean he used to swim in, the night sky filled with stars that now felt so far away. The door opened. Commander Yelvrix walked in, followed by a soldier carrying a camera. "We are going to send a message," Yelvrix said. "You will say nothing. You will only stand there. Let them see you alive. Let them know we have you." The camera activated. Yelvrix spoke in the common galactic language, his words clear and cold. "To the United Earth Coalition. We have your citizen. His name is Park Do-hyun. He is unharmed for now." Yelvrix paused, letting the words sink in. "You will surrender the 3 border systems you stole from us. You will withdraw all military forces from the neutral zone. You have 10 days to agree. If you refuse, this human will die, slowly." The camera turned off. Yelvrix looked at Do-hyun with something like pity. "They will not come for you," Yelvrix said. "No species would start a war for 1 person. 3 star systems are worth more than 1 life. This is simple mathematics." He left. The door closed. Do-hyun was alone again. He sat on the cold floor and wrapped his arms around his knees. He did not cry. Not yet. But he felt the weight of loneliness pressing down on him like a physical thing. 10 days. Somewhere far away, in a place Do-hyun could not see, his message reached Earth. It played on screens in military command centers. It played in government buildings. It played in the home of his mother, who screamed when she saw her son's face. And in a tall building in the capital city, a woman with gray hair watched the message 3 times. Her name was Admiral Kang Ji-woo. She was 60 years old. She had fought in 4 wars and won them all. When the message ended, she turned to her aide. "Get me the fleet commanders," she said. Her voice was soft, but her eyes were burning. "All of them, now." The aide hesitated. "Admiral, the council will want to discuss. The council can discuss whatever they want. I am not going to discuss anything." She stood up, and in that moment, she looked like a storm about to break. "They took 1 of ours. They will learn what that means." Far away in his cold cell, Do-hyun looked up at the buzzing light and wondered if anyone would come for him. He did not know it yet, but Earth was already moving.